All information in this program is known to be accurate at the time of recording. Any commentary by the host is for discussion purposes only. Anyone labeled a person of interest by the host or family has not been charged with a crime. All suspects charged with crimes related or unrelated to a case covered are innocent until proven guilty in a court of law. Opinions and views expressed by the host do not represent views of the families or sponsors of this program. Hi, welcome to the Weekly Remind. I'm your host, Steve Stone. Before we begin, I wanted to let everybody know that it is of the utmost importance for us to gather all sides of the story. We want to be able to make sure that we hear from everybody, every person, their point of view, what they're feeling, and that's important. This episode, we're focusing on the case of Will Polk and April Jones after what I would amount to as just unprofessionalism and a complete lack of common sense, a complete lack of sympathy for a family. A photo was leaked to one of Will Polk's family members. Now, we wanted to speak with April Jones's family. However, there was scheduling conflict and we just weren't able to connect. We will be having a representative of April Jones on this program at some point because we want to hear what they're going through. We want to hear what it's been like for their family, if they're experiencing some of the similar things that the Will Polk family has experienced. And we will bring that to you as soon as humanly possible. Again, we are always want to stand with the family of April Jones. Our thoughts and prayers are with that family every day. And we too are constantly thinking about them. And we look forward to speaking with them in the future. Now, we had the opportunity to interview Scarlett Campbell. Again, she is Will Polk's relative, has been the lead champion in his case, and has been very, very vocal up until recently, which we will get into in the interview. Parts of this interview were just unable to play. They were inaudible, and weren't able to catch that until we were getting ready to do this episode. So we are going to play parts. We're going to play the entirety of the interview that we can, and then we are going to get into the questions I asked that we weren't unable to play for you right now. So right now we're going to get into the portion of the interview, and it was a question that I asked that got cut off, and I asked Scarlett, what's it like to the family, to their family, to know that there are individuals out there that were involved in this crime against both Will and April, and they're still roaming the streets. Now, some of this information might be troubling for some of our viewers and listeners, so I am going to say viewer discretion is advised. But she does explain, and I think it's important that Scarlett explains what they're going through, what was done, and why they are concerned for their family. So here's my interview with Scarlett Campbell.
But my family worries about the next family. My family worries about the next person that could fall victim to the four that are still walking around. My family worries about the next person whose family member is heinously murdered and is treated as a joke. You know, my family's worried about the next family that laws and bylaws don't apply to their case either, according to the people enforcing those laws. That's what we worry about.
And you recently have been removed from Facebook. You've been put in Facebook jail for a meme that looks pretty harmless to me. What's your take on that? Obviously, someone had to point the finger at you about that meme and get Facebook to do something. Do you think that is because your voice has been loud about these things?
It's beyond a doubt. What it is it was a Kermit meme, and I'm talking, this meme was posted over a year ago. So what's happened is they couldn't take my videos because of freedom of speech and get those violated without violating my constitutional right to freedom of speech. Therefore, they dug in my Facebook until they could find, a suitable, unacceptable, according to Facebook, meme or anything that could get me blocked from making videos and voicing my voice, Will's voice. So, it's no surprise to me. Actually, I figured they would have tried it before now, seeing as my house has been shot up, broken into, I've been followed, I've been stalked. There's no limit to what either the people involved in killing Will and April or the people involved in covering it up won't do to shut somebody up and just be pacified with the 3 that's in custody and don't worry about the 4 walking free.
Yeah, I just have a hard time with that because, again, anybody, when I keep saying this to people, and I've said it on the air, when I was little, I got in trouble for shoplifting. My brother knew I was shoplifting, and he knew about it, and he got just as much trouble as I got into, and he didn't do the shoplifting, but he knew about it. So the same rules would apply. I just think this is just a miscarriage of justice, backroom deals being made to protect people for whatever reason, or because they've given information that doesn't seem to be acted upon. And I think that's just another miscarriage of justice here by a town who could do right by a family.
Well, absolutely, Steve, and that's putting it lightly, just to say the least. I mean, the thing about it is the 4 that are still walking free. Keep in mind, they're not just in knowledge of what happened and not talking. They were directly involved in executing and pulling off the plan. And, it's questionable as to which one actually shot Will to begin with. Okay, let me that real quick and just reiterate. One had Will's head and hands on their personal property. Knew the entire time that they had body parts there. Finally, 22 months later, led, let me see how to put this nicely, led an employee of the county to, that's one, to loaned their car for the transport of Will and April from Taco Bell to Crowder, Mississippi, to their death, knowing that that's what they were loaning their car for. 3, acted like they were broke down on the side of the road to get Will and April out of the vehicle that they were in, to hold them at gunpoint until the killer, quote, executioner could make it to them from a distance away to kill them. And 4, the one that rode around with head and hands dismembered from a body in garbage bags in their trunk for 2 to 3 days until the killer figured out how they were going to dispose of those parts. So, in my opinion, none of that is knowledge of and lack to talk. every bit of that is direct involvement in the execution of the murder of Will and April. And it's unacceptable. They're just as involved and just as guilty as the 3 that they have in custody now.
Yeah, I 100% agree with that. I've had people ask me on Messenger, and this will be my last question. I've had people ask me on Messenger about people are people getting out of jail, are people trying to get pretrial release. Have you heard anything about that? Because of course we're not getting any information. Are there, other than maybe K2, have you heard of anybody trying to get any pretrial release before trial?
I have not heard of any of the possibility of that. I honestly, as questionable as things are right now, I think the family would probably be the last to know if that was the case, unfortunately. And that, you know, that's sad to say, but it's a truth that we live every day. Have not heard anything like that. I'm praying to God that and I feel like that Corey would absolutely at least be able to give us some type of heads up on that happening, but not sure. We haven't heard anything like that. So.
Okay. Well, as always, I appreciate your time, and you know you're very busy, and you're taking the time out. And like we said earlier in the week, while you are in Zuckerberg jail, we are more than happy to carry anything you would like to do, so that way your voice can continue to be heard, and that way no one misses anything that you might need to say or any information you might need to get out. We are here for you, and we're more than happy to be helpful to do that for you.
Thank you so much, Steve. You guys are a lifesaver. What you do, Steve, is truly amazing. Without you, none of us could push forward with getting the word out and bringing attention to the fact that you know, like in Will's case, the miscarriage of justice is just, you know, it's amazing. And without you, that wouldn't be possible.
I thank you very much for that. I want to thank Scarlett Campbell for coming onto the program. She has, she's always welcome, first of all, on, whether it's the podcast or the weekly remind. She's always welcome. She's a trailblazer. She has been the agitator, for lack of a better term, when it comes to Will's case. She's had to be, to get the information needed to get the ball rolling so they could even get to this point. And she does a lot behind the scenes that nobody knows, involving other cases. She has volunteered her time with me on other cases. And she's not one that toots her own horn, but I just want to say that Scarlett's one of the good guys, good women, and it's awesome to speak with her. It's unfortunate that it's under these circumstances, but she's one of 2 people, if I was ever missing, I would want them to take my case. Earlier in the interview, I had asked Scarlett about the leaked photo. Now, what some of you may not know is that the photo was leaked, and it was leaked to another relative of Will's, and nobody should ever have to watch or look at a photograph of one of their loved ones in that condition, and it is just 100% irresponsible. And I had asked Scarlett what was being done, and she said that Chief Deputy Clinton said that they were going to work on it as they were working on it as they were talking when this initially happened. My opinion on that is this: it's been a week since that photo was leaked, and there has been no news on who leaked it. It's my impression that the longer this goes by, they're not going to either find the person that leaked the photo, or if they know, they're not going to say. Am I demeaning the agency? Yes, and the reason why that is because that's just despicable, folks. And if someone was going to be for not apprehended but dealt with and fired, terminated, charged, I think that would have been done. It just goes to show you the egg on the face of a law enforcement agency who does not help itself. It has not helped itself with Keith Coleman, who escaped twice. It does not help a law enforcement agency who is refusing to charge. As you've heard in that interview with Scarlett just now, the despicable acts of others who are still walking the streets, who the family member, as far as Will Polk's family is concerned, and I'd love to hear what April Jones's family has to say about it, and I look forward to talking with them about it, is these people are still walking the streets. And if they had that much involvement in this case, and they're walking it, what is going on? And then to top it all off, the coup de grace is we have a picture that got leaked to Will Polk's family member of his remains and how they were found. And it just goes back to, do you have any honor? Do you have any couth? Do you have any self-respect, dignity? I mean, law enforcement agencies wear a badge, and that shield represents something: honor, integrity, respect, loyalty, fealty. And I don't think that's the case here, and I find it troubling. And furthermore, when we talk about Will and April and them being just snuffed out as they were, you would think that someone would step in and go, listen, something has to change. Something has to stop. We need to do it this way, and someone step in. I don't know if that's ever going to happen. I pray every day that it does. And we're not even, this is a circus right now, folks, and we're not even at a trial yet. Lord knows what that's going to be like. We don't even have, we're not even at a trial yet. We're not even at regular court hearings. And right, there are 3 suspects who are being charged with 2 counts of murder here. Should have 4 more, and we still, and this is what we're dealing with. And I think that with everything that's going on, someone needs to be held accountable for what's going on in Quitman County. If it's the chief deputy, if it's the sheriff, something has to happen. Now, the good thing is, folks, there is a remedy. All is not lost. All hope is not lost. There is a letter that you can file, and we'll make sure that it's on our Facebook page, and I'll make sure Scarlett gets it to us, where you can contact the AG, the Attorney General there in Mississippi, and demand an investigation into what's going on. I mean, if this was anything, there are things that we demand investigations for that are obvious. This should be one of them. An investigation should be done into, and made sure that it's done, into who leaked those photos. An investigation needs to be done, whether it's special prosecutor, on what's going on and who's handling the reason why 4 people have not been charged that should be charged in this crime, and why Quitman County is being negligent in this whole case of Will Polk and April Jones. It can be done. And you know what else? In closing, I'm going to say this. People can be voted out of office. I don't care. At the end of the day, that sheriff who nobody sees on camera doesn't make. I've never seen him. I've always seen Chief Deputy Peter Clinton on camera. But if the sheriff isn't going to manage his people, then vote him out. The district attorney has to run in that area. The county district attorney, vote him out. Take control, get these people out, and put people in there that'll do the job. Because it matters, folks. It matters. It matters to the two people you see on your screen. It matters to those people's family. It matters. And I hope that enough people, we can make enough noise to get change here, because there needs to be change. And nothing is going to happen until we make sure that change is possible. And God bless these families. They need our support. They need our prayers. And I mean, enough's enough in this case here. As we transition to our weekly case reminds, the cases that we want to remind people about, that people that we've covered in the past and that are missing, I need your help. I need your help in this case right here. This is Sabrina Gibson. I am going to be working on her case next week and be profiling it on the Grimm Truth Podcast. So you're getting a sneak peek at what we're doing. Sabrina Ashley Gibson from New Iberia, Louisiana, was missing on August the 30th, 2020. She's 5'5", 140 pounds, brown hair, brown eyes, and she has tattoos. I need anybody with information on this case to contact me. Steve Stone at thegrimmtruth.com. That's Steve Stone at thegrimmtruth.com with 2 M's down there on the bottom of your screen. I need help looking for this young woman. Any information, anybody that wants to go on the record or off the record, it's important. We need to find this young girl, and we need your help. I'm not going into too much detail about the case right now because, again, I'm still researching this case, but I'm looking for help. And if anybody out there has any information, there's a lot of stuff going on in Louisiana that I'm not going to get into right yet. I will be getting into it on the podcast next week, but something's fishy's going on in this area, and this is a young lady that we need to find. So if anybody has information, please email me, stevestone at thegrimmtruth.com. Again, that's stevestone at thegrimmtruth.com. We have a case remind. We have 2 case reminds this week. Last week, with the issue with my software, I don't think I did justice to a young man whose mother I consider a friend, and she is a wonderful human being, and not only an advocate for her son, but an advocate for others. And I just want to say, Marilyn McAllister is one of those people you meet that they do not ask to get thrust into the world of the missing. Their lives were probably, they were content with what was going on before their loved one went missing. And she's truly not only an inspiration to a lot of people, especially to me. She has a wonderful spirit. She's always positive and upbeat, and her son's missing. And we need to do everything we can to help get law enforcement to kind of turn their eyes back onto his case and not forget about it. So let's do that right now. David McAllister is from Bettendorf, Iowa. He went missing on May the 11th, 2017. He was a white male, dark blonde hair, blue eyes, 5'9", 160 pounds. Multiple tattoos, pierced ears. You can see a picture here. He's got a beautiful cross, what I believe to be his right shoulder. And David loved life. David was one of those guys, was a free spirit. And he liked to take walks. But the one thing about Dave is he was brutally honest with his mom. Sometimes to the point where Marilyn just was like, Dave, that's TMI, too much information. But his relationship with his mother was, they were more than just mother and son. They were best friends. David was not going to leave his mom in the lurch without telling her where he was going or what he was doing. It's my belief that law enforcement kind of takes for granted the relationships that parents have with their children, and they don't really listen to what the mother or a father or any relative has to say for that matter. And it's very important that we ask them, Detective Brian Crouch, if you're listening, if you watch this show, and I hope that you do, please, we know that law enforcement doesn't like to be told what to do. And we respect law enforcement, but this case has to be looked at from a point of view as David didn't just disappear because he wanted to. Something caused David's disappearance. And we believe that it was not of David's own free will. He went missing because someone decided that's what was going to happen. So if anybody has any information on the whereabouts of David McAllister, please contact Detective Brian Crouch at 563-344-4035. Again, that's 563-344-4035. Reference case number 17-1173. And let's begin this case anew. If we have to start from scratch, press the reset button, whatever needs to be done to find David and help his mom reunite with his son, with her son, that needs to happen. And we need y'all's help. We need someone to come forward. Somebody knows something. And we also need law enforcement to engage this case differently and to maybe start from scratch, start recanvassing, start re-interviewing. Not wait for leads to come in because, as far as I'm concerned, this case is cold enough. It's, and I hate that term, but it's time. It's time to get action going in this case and start looking at it from a different way. I know there's a lot going on, and I know, we can get all the excuses. There's a lot of cases. Dave's not the only one missing. We get all that, but I don't see what it would hurt to look at this case differently. And if you have to, pass it off to somebody else. Pass it off to somebody that might be able to give it more attention. Think outside of the box. Can we outsource this case to a private investigation firm that is reputable, that's professional, that will that will also help? Anything, because it's time. And in David McAllister's case, it's time to maybe take a fresh approach. 2017, it's 2021. It's time to bring David McAllister home, and we need your help to do that. Our final case remind of the week and our final segment this week is that of Eric Alvarado. Eric Alvarado went missing from Atlanta, Texas on November 20th, 2018. This is a case where I think I probably maybe should have done differently when I brought it up on the podcast and when I was doing interviews. There is a lot to this case that still doesn't make sense. It's left open. Now, I talked to Eric's wife at the time, and I missed out on the opportunity to talk with Eric's father. And I think that maybe I should have, at the time, being new at this, I should have talked to both of them simultaneously. And again, that's probably my fault. And I missed that opportunity. And I would love to speak with Eric's dad. And we've spoken. We have spoken before a couple weeks back, and we were going to set up time to talk. But unfortunately, we weren't able to. And again, I think I missed the boat on that one, and I do humbly apologize for not reaching out to them while I was working on the case. And as I learned from doing this, it's a missed opportunity, and I want to get that. Hopefully, I'll get that opportunity to talk with his father, interview him for another episode of Eric's case on the podcast. But Eric's case is one of those cases too that a lot of it doesn't make any sense. For all intents and purposes, Eric was a homebody. He didn't really go out too much. No matter what Eric did, what he was doing, He was still a family guy. He was raising kids and he was a loving son and a loving brother, and he's missing. Now, his case is riveting because the story is that he leaves early in the morning, 1, 2 o'clock in the morning, to go get chewing tobacco, which, by the way, according to his family, he had in his Jeep, but supposedly he went to the store. His dogs, his 2 beautiful dogs, go with him, and hours later, the vehicle is found, and then shortly after that, the 2 animals are found deceased near where the truck was found, and the keys are hanging conspicuously on a farm fence clipped to it. Now, there's a lot of things in this case under the surface that the circle isn't really it's close, but there's a lot of people inside that circle, and we don't know any more than that. All we do know is Eric's missing, and it's believed that Eric is this wasn't Eric's choice. And most of these cases of the missing, it's not their choice. But we need help bringing Eric Alvarado home. We need help getting answers. If anybody has answers in this case, we need your help. Fear is not an option in this case, because I'm going to tell you, like I've been saying from day one, if you're talking about a case like this to other people, aren't you risking your life being in danger by doing that? I mean, if you're going to risk your life, you might as well talk to the authorities, talk to the family, get the answers that they need to bring their loved one home. So we need your help in Eric Alvarado's case. He's 6'5", 280 pounds, black hair, hazel eyes, talented tattoo artist. Everybody was going to seeing him to get inked up. At me, as a tattoo connoisseur myself, beautiful work, I'll say that. And he's missed. He has a family that misses him. Any information on the whereabouts of Eric Alvarado, or anybody that knows the whereabouts or what happened to Eric Alvarado, please contact the Atlanta, Texas PD, 903-796-7973. Again, 903-796-7973. If you need to, you can remain anonymous. You can also email me, stevestone@thegrimmtruth.com. Again, that's stevestone@thegrimmtruth.com. Well, I want to thank everybody for tuning in today for the weekly remind. I want to thank Scarlett Campbell for always being nice enough to take out the time to speak with us and just talking about that just despicable act. I'm sure it's not easy, and I'm sure it's not easy for people to have to listen to that, of course. My thoughts and prayers are with their family and April Jones's family, and we will be speaking with them. Hopefully, we'll be able to get them on next week. I don't care if we have to move things around. I want to get them on. I want to hear what they're going through. It's very important to me to make sure that story is told also. Thank you so much. Hey, if you haven't done so, subscribe to the YouTube channel. What are you waiting for, folks? We need to grow this group of guardians. We need to start expanding and getting the message out to more and more people each and every week. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. Hit the notification bell so you never miss an episode. Leave a like and a comment. There's this thing called the YouTube algorithm, and without that algorithm, our page and our channel doesn't grow. The whole purpose is this for it to grow, to become its own entity, standing on its own 2 feet. That way we can get the message about the missing out there, so that one day somebody watching this very show on YouTube, whether it's on the cell phone, laptop, tablet, casting on their television, and they might know something, they might see something, and they might get the courage to come forward and say what they know, bringing a loved one home and bringing a voice to the voiceless and in search for the truth. I'm your host, Steve Stone. This has been the Weekly Remind. Until next week, God bless.